This is SSU TV. We're here to talk about the Sounders today. I'm Matt Page. This is Abraham DeWeese and Ian Loney. So we've had a bunch of recent matches for the Sounders, and thought we'd go over how we feel about each match.
There were three games this week.
We'll start with Vancouver.
Yeah, there were three games this week. We had, Vancouver, Sporting KC, and we had
Energy
the Red
drink
Bulls.
Bulls.
Energy Bulls. Yes.
Energy.
So,
How'd you feel about the Vancouver game? We'll just go game by game.
Well, okay. The Vancouver game was this was the linchpin. This was the game we needed to win. This was the team that was in the lead in the West, top of the table. We took them out. We went to their home and took you out.
and we did it. We did it without Oba, which was huge. Chad Barrett put up 2 goals for us. It was a really impressive win. He had a really great game. I was really happy with it.
Knocked in the bracket. For those of you who don't necessarily know, means 2 goals in a game. What is it when you have 3 goals in a game?
It's a hat trick.
Hat trick?
Yeah.
Nice. So then we move on to the KC game. And how did you feel about that, Ian?
Well, that was a much cagier affair. It ended up being a very tactical game.
You make it sound like some tacit relationship with Susan Sarandon, in some Lifetime documentary or something.
It kind of was. Kansas City kind of turtled in the game. They really played defensively and got the 0-0 draw they were looking for. The Sounders had a lot of possession. They didn't really do much with it. They were playing. They sat a lot of guys because again they were playing 3 matches in a week and they needed to rest some guys, I think. But
the interesting thing about that is Sporting KC just came off their own 3 games in a row in 1 week, and I think you're right. They were just trying to get the draw, get 1 point, get the heck out.
Yeah. A little tired, a little fatigued.
Yep.
All right.
Which is a theme that I think happens a lot anymore when teams come to Seattle because they know how hard it is to play here. They know that if you attack the Sounders, that their counterattack with Clinton Oba is just deadly.
It's devastating. Additionally, travel is a big thing. Take a look at Sporting KC. They had to go to the East Coast, they came home, and then they come back to the West Coast, or come to the West Coast. And that's a lot of travel, even though they're located centrally in the United States. It's still a lot of travel within 1 week.
Yeah, as a Seattle sports fan, I have very little pity for them.
All our sports teams have to put up with the same travel schedule.
The nearest city is a 3-hour flight for most of our teams. So.
Unfortunately.
So the heck with those guys.
Yeah. So moving on, we played the Red Bulls on Sunday, and Abraham, you wanted to say something about that?
I missed pretty much every goal. There were 3 goals. The Sounders scored 2 and 1 in the last minute. And
Abraham, for those of you who don't know, Abraham sits in the ECS section of the stadium, and very often he can't see much of the field.
So everybody out there, you probably actually saw the whole game. What I saw were flags,
more
eruptions,
flags.
Noise, excitement, flags,
chanting.
But Dempsey did score a beautiful stoppage time goal off of a cross by Mears. I thought they looked like the better team throughout, even though they gave up that 1 goal that was a bit fluky in the first half.
That was important. That shows the grit and the determination of this team to come back after a goal that early.
Absolutely.
Bounce back, yeah.
And by the way, I noticed on that goal, that was the 1 goal I did see, the other team scoring against us. And I noticed that was a mental lapse, actually, on our defense. Stephen Fry was not to blame there.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mental lapse. It was also kind of a lucky bounce.
It was a little,
the first guy missed the header, and it kind of just went to the right guy, and it's just one of those fluky goals that happen sometimes. But
I still would have liked to seen the Seattle defenders mark up their men a little bit. It kind of looked like the Red Bull forward that scored bullied our defender.
Yeah.
And just out-muscled him and manned him in a position to get that goal.
Yep. I agree, and I think that has been a bit not the norm this year because I think overall the defense has actually been quite good this year. It's been a really marked improvement from last year. I think that the new back line, particularly Brad Evans, has really stepped up into the role of defending quite well.
All right. Well, right now the Sounders control the West.
That was the important thing to this last week.
Yes.
defeating Vancouver, who had been leading the West. A tie against Sporting KC, not terrible, but you still get a point out of that. And then the win against the Red Bulls, 3 more points, 7 points in 1 week. That is hard to do.
Yes, it is.
Do you feel like we can stay and maintain that control throughout the season?
I don't see any reason why they can't. There's no one in MLS as a team that actually scares me from the Sounders' perspective.
The Whitecaps are not. They're not what their record says they are.
No.
They're
Paper tiger?
They're paper tiger. They're paper Whitecaps.
No, and DC is not as good as their record either. They're
The
the
Revolution aren't that good either,
No.
in my opinion.
LA
This is the
LA is probably
same.
better than their record because they always are at this point in the season, but we'll see how that turns out, especially once they get their mid-season additions of Gerard and everything. So
True. Hey, I got a question for you guys. So the Sounders won the Supporter Shield. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of the Supporter Shield over in Europe?
that is the
That's
title.
the title.
Yes.
But we have a playoff system. I don't think of the Supporter Shield as that important.
I don't either.
It goes, you know what it is? It reflects the differences in culture between Europe and the U.S. In the U.S., we live for those moments, for those last second moments. Bottom of the ninth in the Game 7 of the World Series, 2 outs, 2 bases are loaded, that eager moment, the last play of the Super okay, that's too soon, Super Bowl. But, we live for those moments. So the playoffs cater to that.
Yeah.
Whereas the Shield is more, I don't know, it's more old school and more European in that respect.
We're very geared to a playoff. I mean, we play sports like baseball where we play a 162 game season. And we still don't consider that enough to determine
we need
who
more.
our best
We
team
need more.
is. We need a short series playoff where the hottest team will win.
Yeah.
And I may not always agree with it because I don't think the best team always wins those systems, but it does certainly make it more exciting.
Back in the day, the pennant used to be important. The pennant being winning either the National League or the American League.
Yep.
That was almost as important as the World Series. Not so much anymore. It's just
Not
a
anymore.
preliminary-
It's
a preliminary.
it's the instant gratification culture that our media has perpetuated. You need that. You need the those moments, and you need to win, and you need to win it all.
Yeah.
And not over 6 months. You need to win it that day. It needs to be on the field and decided right then and there.
Yeah.
Moving on, we had Oba come back this week.
That's right. Obafemi Martins.
Welcome addition. The guy is putting up near MVP level performance just like last year. He has some of the prettiest goals I've ever seen in this league for sure, and ones that I would put up against a lot of other leagues as far as quality. I mean, the guy is just world class, and I don't know what the Nigerians are thinking about not putting him on their national team.
He didn't get on the World Cup team last year for the Nigeria, and Nigerians would have went further with Obafemi Martins.
Yes, they had no attack.
They had no attack, and that's what they were missing. Was what is he? He's too old for them, maybe.
No, I don't think that's it. I heard there was some personal issues between him and the now former Nigerian coach. So
There's a lot of politics in soccer.
Yeah, there is definitely.
Yeah.
You wanted to ask you guys some questions about the defenders. How do you feel each defender has been performing?
I was really down on Brad Evans, the captain. He was moved from the midfield to the backfield. Now playing center back, I believe right center back, and looked pretty bad.
At times.
No. He looked bad a lot of the time. But my God, if he didn't do a fantastic job these last 2 weeks, actually.
He's growing into the role very well, and it's taken a little bit of time, and he's had a few mental lapses. I personally think that he's been, for the most part, pretty good all year. I think early in the year he had one really horrendous game where he directly gave up a couple goals.
Well, that was the San Jose game.
Yeah, the San Jose game.
Chris Wondolowski took him to task for a hat trick.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that game was horrendous. But for the most part, apart from the individual mental lapse here and there early in the season, he wasn't even that bad. Of late, he's been terrific. Even when Chad Marshall has been out like he was in the KC game this week.
You're so nice to Brad Evans. Did he invite you over to dinner? Is that why you're so nice to him?
Actually,
Later on, I'll be heading over to his house.
Text him later.
I will say this, though. In the games that Chad Marshall has missed, like like last Wednesday or when he had a yellow card suspension, Zach Scott has actually stepped into the role very ably, as always. He's always been a stable presence there.
You know who I like? This guy that came from Man City, Tyrone Mears. Tyrone Mears, what is he, 32?
Yeah, something like that.
So his time in the EPL is kind of done, but he's come in, held down that left back position.
The right back that was vacated by Yedlin.
No, he's on the left back.
He's playing right. He's playing right.
He's playing the right. Okay.
Yep. It was the right back position that Yedlin vacated, and he's brought a lot more stability because Yedlin obviously was very explosive, a lot of speed, tons of potential, but Mears brings that nice veteran savvy and just solid defending and knows when to come forward without overexposing himself. He does all those little things right.
I like this guy Remick, he's the left back.
Yeah, he's the left
and
back.
And Remick has been knocking it out of the ballpark as far as performance. It's hard to put any statistic to these guys. The only time you ever hear about a back in soccer is when they give up a goal. It's kind of like an offensive lineman in football.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The only time you ever hear about them is when they have a holding penalty. The only time you ever hear about a back in soccer is when they're the one to blame for giving up the goal.
But Dylan Remick's been growing a lot this year, and he seems to have permanently taken the starting job away from Leo Gonzalez.
I'm a little concerned, though, that the speed isn't there this year in the backfield.
I think, Remick has it. I think that they've been holding him back quite a bit.
By design?
By design, yes. I think that there's been a lot of focus put on not giving up as many goals this year, and it's shown because they haven't been giving up very many goals this year. And I think that's been somewhat to the detriment. Remick does come forward, but I think he stays back a bit more than he might be his natural tendency, much as what they did with Yedlin last year as far as holding him back more often.
With a veteran backfield like this, I almost feel like they're trying to make up maybe for some deficiencies in the midfield defensively.
Ozzie Alonso is still the best defensive midfielder in the league.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Hands down. And even better than Beckerman, I think. But
ooh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. That guy's really good. Needs to get a haircut, though.
Yeah. But Pineda is soft on defense. Papa doesn't even think about defense most of the time.
Papa's an offensive guy. He's always on the attack. Had a great goal, by the way, against the Red Bulls. I don't know if you guys saw it. I got to see it on replay because there were a bunch of flags in my face and people jumping up and down. But I saw it on the big screen.
But apparently it happened.
It happened. A nice little left footer. The guy's a right foot dominant guy, but he put it over on his left, popped it right past the goalie. The goalie couldn't have done anything. He would have been like 8 feet tall to get to it. It was not a poor play on the defense, not by the goalie. It was just all precision and accuracy.
Papa is a good creator. He's a really good third position. He's a really good third position in the triangle with Oba and Clint as far as setting things up. And I think that I think that he's a good asset. I just don't think he defends very well.
Yeah.
So, national or international news this week, I guess. FIFA had quite the scandal. Surprising absolutely no one who pays attention to soccer. But what are your thoughts on this, Abraham?
Corrupt. They are corrupt. Those 19 people who were taken in by the FBI. I guess Switzerland extradited them back to America. Throw the book at them. Throw away the key. Lock them up.
I like that they brought him up on racketeering. It's like they treating him like the mob. And
that's pretty much what they are. They're the most corrupt institution in the world. No one really can complain. Can contest that.
As many migrant workers in Qatar can attest to.
Hey,
too soon?
Dead men tell no tales. I know I'm using that out of context. Harriet Tubman. My apologies. Anyway, so Harriet Tubman reference.
Literary reference for you. There you go.
Dropping that on you. Yeah.
Because
did you see that coming? Yeah.
Well, I feel like a lot of this was based off of Qatar getting the World Cup nomination or a bid over the United States or Germany or England, and I there's probably a little bit of retribution in it by America.
Yep.
But you know what? European countries, you guys didn't have the guts to do it. We're going to come and get those guys for you.
And frankly, I think at least among the Europeans are quite happy that someone is actually stepping in and has the guts to maybe step up a little bit.
By the way,
I've noted that even the Swiss are being very cooperative in this whole investigation.
Oh, yeah.
So
I saw a great article where UEFA, they're thinking about seceding from FIFA, UEFA being the European League for soccer.
And the U.S. could do it, but it wouldn't mean anything because no one cares about us when it comes to soccer.
But it's all our money. Apparently 40% of the revenue for soccer teams comes from America, though.
Interesting.
Or American companies.
Oh, okay. Well,
there's media deals,
Adidas
so
and
forth,
Reebok and all that.
We
making
still
the
have
shirts.
We still have one of the biggest consumer cultures and economies in the world, so it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
So we were talking actually before before the show that about the Brazil example of corruption in FIFA.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not just Brazil, but it's also South Africa. South Africa, you can't tell me that was on the up and up.
Russia. The allegations actually go back all the way back to 1991, shockingly, as far as like bribery allegations and whatnot. The charges, they're from what I've read, they're very extensive and they cover a lot of ground. And let's hopefully it just causes some cleanup. And I hope someone starts singing and Sepp Blatter is implicated next. So
yeah, Sepp Blatter, the president of FIFA, and apparently, according to himself, president of the world. God, I want to punch that guy in the face. I hate him. He somehow is immune because he does not have business dealings in America. Because I think we would have went after him, or maybe because he's Swiss. Maybe the Swiss government don't want to extradite him, and they were willing to give up these 19 other guys.
How long before he buys a small island out in the South Pacific and just creates his own country so no one can ever come and prosecute him?
FIFA land?
Yeah,
FIFA land.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a great land to
We'll
live.
just have, a bunch of soccer fields and a landing strip and some facilities for everyone to live in.
So FIFA, a nonprofit organization, has over $1 billion in the bank.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's very nonprofit. It's a very well-off nonprofit. And on that note, I think we should probably...
Well, I wanted to wrap one more thing up with the Sounders. How do you feel they're going to finish the season?
Sounders are going to win the Supporter Shield. We're going to have a problem against the Galaxy. I agree with you a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue.
And they are going to go get out of the group stage in CONCACAF, too, so... I hope anyway.
I got one last word I just want to throw out there. I know I've been slagging my seats, but the game against the Red Bulls was fantastic. I've been an ECS supporter for 5 years now, going on 6. The seats are fantastic. You guys should all check it out once in your life.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. It's chanting flags. It's a great way to experience a game.
Beautiful atmosphere.
So that was it for us here at SSU TV. I'm Matt. This is Abraham, and this is Ian. Thank you.